for me, he's good because that versatility. So if we suddenly get a couple of suspensions or a couple of injuries, he can slot into that right wing position. So again, could be an asset. Who knows? But yeah, it's all. I mean, it's just highlighting, isn't it, the quality that the Premier League standards have during in their academies.
Yeah, they're going to have decent players anyway, aren't they? But I think Tottenham will be, very encouraged to send them to us because they know what type of coach Chris Davies actually is as well.
So welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC. And everyone knows that our manager, Chris Davies, was employed from Tottenham Hotspur, which means he's inevitably going to have that connection with the club. And recently we did a post asking for your questions. And we've decided to take one of the questions and actually do a separate video on it. I'm just going to read it out now. So credit to handle name, we don't know the name, so OK Chap. And the question was, Chris Davies confirmed at a recent OSC, which is the official supporters club, that we will be getting a few loan players in from Tottenham. And who do we think they will be? So, Dad, you've done a little bit of research on some players at Tottenham. We're going to discuss it, have a bit of a back and forth. So do you want to share some of your findings and who Blues might be interested in?
Well, I've picked 6. But when I did my research, there's so many good players in the Tottenham youth and younger players that you could pick quite a few. So we had to pick 6, and some of them may be known to Blues supporters because you would have seen speculation since Chris Davies came that these players, are maybe going to be going out on loan, and because of his link, as Matt's already said in the intro, it seems natural that he'll be linked with Birmingham. That these will be linked with Birmingham City. So we picked 6, and most of them are attacking players. And the first one is a player called Will Lancashire. Again, I've heard about him before Tottenham. He's a centre forward, very tall, 19 years old. So I think he's 1.89, so he's about 6'4", so he's very, very tall.
Wow, 6'4".
Yeah,
Wow.
it's round about that, I believe, 6'4", 1.89.
It's normally a goalkeeper's height, isn't it? That's really tall for a striker.
Yeah, but he's got a great goal scoring record. So he's played 32 games in the Tottenham under-21, scored 25 goals, 3 assists. He was in the Spurs under-18s, only played 5 games, 4 goals. So I say I've heard his name bandied around social media with being linked to other clubs as well. Yeah. So to me, Will Lancashire is a possibility.
Yeah, it sounds great. And it's funny because we've got Alfie May now, haven't we, who is our number 9 signing, I would guess, proven at this level. But we know at Birmingham City we have a depth problem up front. We always have. Well, we have had now for many, many years. So why not expand it? And strikers are expensive. If you go all out on a striker, you could be spending a lot of money. Why not exploit, as you say, one of the loans in here? And I think why not take a gamble on someone who scored so many goals even at the under-21 level and add that depth to our front line? I've got no problem with it. I think he sounds great.
He sounds really good, and that's why I think that I've focused mainly on attacking players because of the deficiency in that area. And also, what we've got to bear in mind, Blues fans, is that any player that comes on loan, the parent club are going to want these players to get experience. So there's going to have to be someone that's credible enough to be able to get into. There's no point in bringing them and sticking them on our bench because they're not going to get the experience they want, and the clubs are not going to be happy with that we're getting them off.
Yeah. And also as well, I mean, let's not forget, even though it's Tottenham, Chelsea, United, whoever, the under-21 is still a completely different ball game to playing professional first-team League One football. They're going to get kicked, they're going to get booted, they're going to get grown men, sticking.
Good experience,
100% good experience. But what I'm saying is those goals at the under-21 level don't always translate to goals at League One level. However, they're always worth taking a gamble on because this is how you find those gems, isn't it?
This lad looks physically strong from what I've actually seen. So I think he's also in England under-19, played 5 games, scored 3 goals. He scores goals everywhere. So I think he would be one that I think would be
out of curiosity, have you put him first because he's possibly the ideal?
Yeah. So I've put these in the order of the possibility that they're likely to be sent out on loan because this is only speculation, and the possibility is that Tottenham may decide, like we've got the same dilemma with Junior Dixon and Ramal Donovan. What do we do with them? Do we put them out on loan or do we keep them in the squad?
Yeah.
But obviously it's slightly different at Premier League level because the chances of these guys getting into the first team is possible, but it's a lot less likely. So another player that could be a real interest to Birmingham City on loan from Tottenham is a player called Jamie Donnelly, another 19-year-old striker, born in Northern Ireland, but just like Will Lancashire, he scores plenty of goals as well. So he's played 28 games as a striker, scored 16 goals, and interestingly, 18 assists. Wow. So that's 34
Goal
contributions in 28 games. Played as a centre forward. Well, he played as a second striker and as a centre forward. So he played in a few positions up front. So he played 49 goals. Played 49 games for the Tottenham under-23. He scored 11 goals and 20 assists. Wow. So to me, when I look at his stats, he scores lots of goals, but he seems to get slightly more assists as well. So that's a really good attribute for a striker. So he's another one for me that I think he could do really well. He's got lots of caps. Lots of experience in the England youth teams as well. Scores plenty of goals in there as well. So
interesting.
Why not?
I like to see high assist levels as well, because it shows that they're willing to play in their teammates. They're willing to share the joy and the glories. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everyone loves a greedy striker who's going to bang in 30 plus goals. But when they do have the assist as well, it shows that they're a bit more of a team player. And I really like those sort of attributes. But I mean, what are Tottenham feeding their strikers? How many goals are these kids scoring? It's absolutely incredible. So
I think you're going to have to be fairly decent to play for Tottenham, because they are a top team.
They are a top team.
So they're going to try and get the best of the youth players.
They're going to have a good academy, aren't they? There's no doubt about it. So, and clearly the proof is in the pudding. So my similar feedback to Will Lancashire, really. I mean, why not add more depth in the loan and take a gamble? Can do no harm, can it? We've got 5 loan spaces to fill. Why not?
Well, as I say, I have seen links already or rumours that he's one that Blues are interested in. Next, we have a player called Dane Scarlett. He is another centre forward. I did say I picked forward thinking players. This guy is 20, and he's not as tall as the first two. He's about 1.8, which is about 6 foot. So he's tall enough for a striker. But again, another decent player who scores lots of goals. Played 58 games, scored 23 goals and 6 assists. I mean, they're good. They're good score ratios for all these players, aren't they?
Yeah.
He was on loan at Portsmouth. I think it was last season, played 40 games in their promotion season, scored 6 goals and 2 assists. So I think he's going to be in demand on loan, because he's already been out on loan. He's a little bit year older than the previous two, but again, another striker that we could potentially look at. So
he was on loan at Ipswich last season, and Portsmouth was the season before that. So I would rather personally take a gamble on the first two. So, you're looking at Will Lancashire and Jamie Donnelly. I think they have more goals. They are possibly better height, better physicality. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Dane Scarlett's not a good player, but I think he has come down to this level before, just looking at the stats. And his goals are a little bit underwhelming when he's been put into League One. So for me personally, I'm sure he's a great player, but I would rather take a gamble on the first two.
Yeah, I'd pick him because he's got the experience in League One. He's got the experience of playing for Ipswich as well, as you mentioned. So, yeah, and he has got goals as well in League One. Yeah, maybe not as many, but then they are going to get less goals in League One than they would in the youth teams, aren't they?
He had 4 in 34 appearances, which isn't a great goal scoring ratio for an attacker. But as you said, he's got the experience.
I wonder how many of those appearances were a sub though. So I don't know if you because like an appearance could be on for like 5 minutes and it counts as an appearance, doesn't it? But yeah. So
I agree. By the way, exposure to League One, exposure to the Championship is great for players of this age, and as you say, he's got that experience under his belt. But I think we're going to have enough experience this year, and we're only just getting started in the transfer market. So for me personally, I would rather take a gamble on an unknown, those first two with those sort of better impressive stats, and see what we get.
Well, believe it or not, I've got another striker next, another centre forward. I love this guy's name, Jude Soonsup-Bell. He's a 20-year-old centre forward from Chippenham, and he's another centre forward that scores plenty of goals as well. Let me have a look how tall he is, because
6'1".
Yeah, so he's a decent enough size, but not the tallest. But his goal record is really good as a centre forward. 57 games, 28 goals and 8 assists. He's also been used as a right winger as well, so he's obviously slightly more versatile than the other ones as well. Played 15 times as a right winger, scored 7 goals and 5 assists. That's not bad, is it? I think they got him from Chelsea. He was in the Chelsea youth teams, and they brought him to Tottenham. But he has scored goals everywhere he's gone, and he's played at England 15s, 16s, 18s, 19s. So he's been through the England, scored goals in the games he's played as well. So he's a potential one that you could also bring in as well. So far we've spoken about 4 youth team strikers at Tottenham that all of them could
Quality, yeah.
potentially be add quality to our forward line. Any thoughts on him? He's young, isn't he? 20.
Young, good height, looks like good physicality, can score, can assist. He's got 8 assists as well across the board for last season. Again, I like players who spread the goals around. So, yeah, I mean, for me, he's good because that versatility. So if we suddenly get a couple of suspensions or a couple of injuries, he can slot into that right wing position. So, again, could be an asset, who knows? But, yeah, it's all, I mean, it's just highlighting, isn't it, the quality that the Premier League standards have during in their academies.
Yeah, they're going to have decent players anyway, aren't they? But I think Tottenham will be, very encouraged to send them to us because they know what type of coach Chris Davies actually is as well. Now the next one is a bit of a strange one because I picked this one, and he was out of all of them. This is the one that sort of excited me the most. However, since doing this, we've now brought in Emil Hansen, who's a left winger, and this guy is a left winger. So we'll have to see. He's a guy called Diego Santiago. Yeah. He is Spanish. He's 21 years old, so he's a little bit older. But I really like the look of this guy, and I did quite a bit of research on him. Left winger, pacey, played 49 games on the left wing, scored 11 goals and 9 assists. That's as a left winger, not as a forward. Mm-hmm. That's a really good return as a left winger. He has played centre forward. He scored 6 goals and 1 assist. But he's played 80 games in total for the Tottenham under 23s and scored 18 goals and 12 assists. Wow, that's not bad as a left winger as well. I think he looks like a really good player to me. He does. But now that we've signed Emil Hansen, I think because he's a left winger, and we've already spoken in a previous video about the left wing options that we've got, I think now it's unlikely. At the time that I did this, we hadn't signed Emil Hansen. But I do like him. He looks like a really decent player.
Again, I'm not going to waffle for no reason. Just to reiterate your point home, we got Dembele, JJ, Keshi Anderson, Emil Hansen. So it's possibly now an oversubscribed position at our club, which is a shame because I really like the look of this guy as well. I love pacey wingers. Yeah. They really excite me. But I've got a feeling now Chris Davies is going to look at that position and think it's a little bit oversubscribed, sadly.
Yeah.
I mean, could he go on the right? Is he versatile enough to switch? Because
there's nothing suggests he can. I mean, all the stats I've looked at for him were all left wing or some games he's played centre forward.
Fair enough.
So, but he's going to have a great future. I think they all are. All these players, to be honest, they're all really decent players. But I really like the look of him. But now, as I say, I think it's less likely because of the incoming of Emil Hansen. Yeah. Now, my final choice is not a striker. It's a guy called George Abbott. He's an 18-year-old defensive midfielder. Now this guy he's really highly thought of in the Tottenham academy, and he looks like from what I've read that Tottenham will send him out on loan somewhere. They won't be keeping him in the academy; they'll be sending him out on loan. Doesn't score many goals, but you're not going to. Now, this is a defensive midfielder, but the reason I put him in there is because of what I've read about him and about the way that Tottenham think highly of him. He's played 20 games as a right back, 20 games as a defensive midfielder, and when he's been a midfielder, he's had 4 goals and 4 assists as a defensive midfielder. Good, I think that's pretty good. So it tells you that he's defensive, but he's obviously got attacking prowess as well. Yeah. He has played as a left back for a few games, 5 games, centre back. So he seems pretty versatile, which I thought was pretty good because if you are in a match and you have got injuries, suspensions, and you need options, you want players a little bit like last year that we had Buchanan was able to play at centre half, Bielek was playing in midfield and he played at centre half. You do need those options as well. So for me, I picked him because, firstly, he's very, very highly thought of from what I've read. Secondly, he's versatile. And, thirdly, he's a defensive midfielder, which, on occasions, you're going to need strong defensive midfielders, to me.
Especially a defensive midfielder who's technically good on the ball and can score goals and get assists. That's a magic formula, isn't it? So, and for me, I've always said about the spine of the team, and there's 2 big transfers for me to come through the door for Birmingham City this summer. And we need depth all over, really. We're a little bit thin on the ground in certain areas, but we need a solid centre-half and we need another solid centre-mid. And I'd love to know a little bit more about him. Is he more of that aggressive Sunjic kind of disruptor, or is he more of the Pake on the ball, looking for the pass? From his stats, he seems like he might be a bit more of a Pake on the ball, quite distribution orientated, getting us back on the transition quickly. I mean, I'd love to know a little bit more about him.
Well, if I tell you that he captained he was the captain of the Spurs youth team that won the Premier League 2 playoff.
Yeah.
If he's a captain, it tells me that he's also got those leadership qualities as well, which would make him I think, quite aggressive.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I think
But
your centre mid should be aggressive
yeah,
by nature.
I just like the look of from what I've read in the way that the Tottenham, are actually sort of. I really think they're pinning a lot on him for the future. I think he's got a similar type of vibe to what I'm hearing at Birmingham City about Josh Home
Okay.
in our youth team in terms of the way he's developing.
Mm.
And the reputation he's got. So I like the look of him. And it'd be interesting as well to see what Tottenham fans think of these players. Now, obviously, we've got to bear in mind, we've only picked 6, and we know that Tottenham, there's a lot of good players there. We've picked these 6. But if you know anything about these players, Tottenham fans, pop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on them. With maybe if there's players that we haven't mentioned that you think would make a good loan for us, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Absolutely.
six decent players,
yeah.
6 decent players there.
6 decent players, 5 loan slots available still. We're going to get a lot of transfers through the door, but why not utilise Chris Davies' connection with Tottenham? And these look like, the first 2 for me are particularly exciting. I think they look like they've got the track record. They look like they've possibly got the physicality there, and I'd love to see a little bit of a gamble taken. And we need depth up front. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Alfie May has definitely calmed the nerves of a lot of Blues fans, but we still need more.
That's why I've picked him because I think out of the loans, I think will be forward players.
I agree.
They're
expensive
the
as well.
first 4 that we've picked there are all forwards.
A good striker is going to cost you a lot of money, so why not utilise your loans, especially utilising some of these Tottenham players?
Yeah, utilise the link with Chris Davies. I think that'll be definitely used.
I couldn't agree more. So as always, Blues fans, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on some of the players we've just discussed? Is there some players we've missed out? Do you know some Tottenham players maybe in defence or midfield that you think we could possibly have a look at? Let us know. But as Dad said, we kept this quite attacking minded because we all know we've struggled for depth up front at Birmingham City for the past few seasons. But I think you'll agree, some really exciting talent there. But we'd love to hear from you. So drop us a comment below on your thoughts and let us know what you think. And if you haven't already, please check us out on our social media channels, on our X page, on our Instagram page. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content. And me and Dad will see you on the next video all about Birmingham City.